Afternoon folks, welcome back. I'm just doing a bit of maintenance to the tackle, and I'm just about to spool up a new line, and I thought I'd show you guys how I do it. Nice quick way of doing it. So we've simply got line, reel, spare spool, scissors, a pencil and a spooler backing. Okay, first thing we're going to do is going to put the backing onto the spool before anything else. And the easiest way to do this is just to attach this backing onto your spool, nice and simply, nice and easily. So I take a loop of this line like so, and I go around it twice. Okay, so it's wrapped around there twice, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tie a knot, and I like to use a simple grinner knot. You can use any sort of sliding knot you want on there. The main thing is you go around the spool twice and it just beds it down. So just tie that on. I'm just going to pull that tight. A couple of those is fine. You're never going to get into this back, and this is just to secure it. It's not like you're going to, for the sort of fishing we're doing, you're never going to get back and get all your backing stripped off. So all the backing is for is just to bulk the spool up a little bit, so that your line doesn't lay too tight on the actual spool itself. All these reels come. They're all large arbor nowadays anyhow. You don't need to put tons of backing on there, just enough to give it a nice little bed for the fly line to sit on. So that's the backing attached to there. I'm now going to wind it on, so we can pop it onto the reel, and then we're going to wind it up and get ourselves a nice little bed in there. So just clip the spool on like so, tighten it up, and then we're just going to wind it on. Now this big bulky spool here, I'm just going to pop it down on the chair and start to wind the backing on. You're just trying to get the backing on nice and evenly across the spool, so just with a finger you're just making it go left to right around the spool. This really doesn't matter that this is coming off the main winder sideways. As I say, this stuff has no memory in it, so there's no issues with that. So you just want to bulk it up. So let's just get a bit on there. We're looking to get about 50 metres on there, something like that. It'd be plenty, I would have thought, on a reel this size. As I say, it really is just to bulk it up. If you're liking these videos, please click like, click subscribe. It's all free, it just means you get notified of my videos as I put them up there, and I can keep putting them out. There we go. Tons of this on there, but this is looking sort of nearly there. A little bit more, I think. Yeah, something about there will do. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this off now. Pair of scissors, just give that a snip off. Boom, done. Okay, that's that bit done, taken care of. Right, next bit is the fly line itself. So here's a fly line. It's not a brand new one. This is one that I've used before, but I store them off the spool sometimes when I'm not using them all the time. Just a floater. Some of these lines come with pre-welded loops, others don't. This is a braided loop that I've added on there myself, and I've just put onto the back there. You can just do a knot-to-knot connection, but I like to put a little braided loop on both ends of the fly line, to be honest. So all we're going to do, very, very simply, again with that same knot, the grin knot I love using, we're just going to pop that through a couple of two or three turns there. 1, 2, 3. Draw it tight and trim it, and then we're ready to wind on. Now this is the important bit, okay? Floating lines, any lines, they have a certain amount of memory, okay? And when they're laid on the spool, they're laid on the spool, so they should come off flat. What you don't want to do, must never do, is wind the fly line directly off the spool so it's coming off sideways like that. Can you see that loop, that coil in there as it comes off there? It's going to come off there full of memory. It's laying the wrong way when it goes onto the reel. This is what causes most people's issues when they get issues with line memory, lines that won't straighten, and we see it all the time. I'm watching it all the time on all the social media platforms. I've got a floating line, it won't straighten out, the brand's rubbish, blah, blah, blah. A lot of the time it's not to do with the brand of floater, and it commonly happens with a floater, it's to do with how that line is spooled up in the first place. Okay, so this is a very important bit. We don't draw that fly line straight off the top there. What we're going to do is we want to draw that fly line off the side of the spool. All right, whether it comes off the top or the bottom matters not. It needs to come off the side of the spool. So this is where you take a pencil and we take a seat and we pop that down in between the legs like so, and then we start to wind. Now you can see that's coming off the spool the correct way. There's no memory in that at all. And we'll just start winding that on the reel all the way, and if we've judged this right, then it should come off. It should just lay on the spool nicely, and I'm not putting any tension on this when I'm winding it on. Another very important thing, especially with the lines with a little bit stretched, no tension in it at all as it goes in. It's just nice and soft. All I'm doing is laying it side to side to side. When you're reeling your line back on after a day's fishing, don't put any tension on that line as you're reeling it in. That's going to cause you memory issues as well, okay? Especially if you intend to store it for a long period of time. If you're not fishing regularly and that's going to be on the spool for some period of time, do not put any tension on as it goes on. This is all coming on nice and light, and if we've judged that right, that should just go on lovely, like so. So the spool isn't completely full, it's got a little bit of room in there so that nothing's going to get trapped in here. You're not having to tighten this down too much to be able to fully load the reel up. And that's it. Very, very simply, very, very quick, very, very simple way of doing it. And then you're ready to go. That's ready to fish now. You can go out and fish with that straight away. Nothing else needed doing. If you want to look and see how to do the braided loops on the other end, check out one of my other videos on how to do the braided loops. They're there for you to see on my YouTube channel. So again, I think that about covers it all. If you enjoyed that, please click like, click subscribe, and look out for my next lot of videos. Thanks very much, folks.